Now, Gary Cohn is Donald Trump's chief economic advisor. He's also a millionaire, seems to be very, very out of touch with the American people. Now, recently he was touting President Trump's tax plan, which would, of course, cut taxes on the richest Americans by billions of dollars and maybe help the middle class just a little bit. Now, recently Cohn appeared at a White House press briefing and spoke to what middle-class Americans would actually have to look forward to under this new tax plan. That is apparently not a tax cut for the rich. Let's watch.
The American people are concerned about is their financial position. I think what they're concerned about is when they go to work every week and they get their paycheck at the end of the week, how much do they get to keep? How much goes in their pocket versus how much goes to the government? How much do they get to spend versus how much do they send to the government? If we allow a family to keep another $1,000 of their income, what does that mean? They can renovate their kitchen. They can buy a new. They can buy a new car. They can take a family vacation. They can increase their lifestyle. That's what our tax plan is to do. Our tax plan is aimed to return more income back to hardworking Americans. That's what we're trying to do here.
Okay, so again, that's actually not what the tax plan is about. The tax plan is about lowering corporate taxes and lowering taxes for the rich. That's what it's about. You just have to look at the plan or the outline of the plan, and you can see very plainly what it's actually about. Now, as far as his statements about, well, if we let the average American family have an extra $1,000, well, you can do so much with that extra $1,000. Like what? Buy a car? Ain't nobody buying a car with $1,000. I mean, sure, saving an extra grand a year might actually help with that, but odds are some of the taxes might actually go up in other ways. For example, payroll taxes, local taxes. For example, if a state is not getting money from the federal government, you know, tax money sent to it from the federal government, well then those government services will either disappear or the cost will be passed on to you. So you'll end up paying more of your state and local taxes, or you just won't have those services. So in the end, you always end up paying anyway. But again, maybe payroll taxes more directly, those might go up to help cover the shortfall the government will have from these giant tax cuts. So are you going to really be saving all that much money? Probably not. And in the end, it turns out a way just to shift money from you to the very, very rich. And that's the point of this whole thing. Now, not only that, but he said, well, if you get an extra $1,000, well, we've already come up with that figure. Well, this is an administration figure they came up with. And look, he said middle class, right? If you're a middle class family, well, just because you're a middle class family doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to end up getting that entire $1,000. For example, this is based on the administration's assumptions. So they don't even know, because the plan is so vague and not fleshed out, right? But it says that a typical family that has 2 children and earns $100,000 per year, that is not a typical family, for one. You can expect an annual tax savings of approximately $1,000. Again, that is not your typical American family. In fact, the median average wage for an American family is half that, about $53,000 a year. Well, how much are those families going to save? They didn't even go by the median. They just picked a number out of a hat. Oh, $100,000. That sounds really good, right? You're going to save $1,000. My guess is if you're about $50,000, if you're at the median, you're going to be less impressed by your tax savings. Okay. Now, what about the poor? Well, they don't even talk about the poor. But you got to compare that savings with the wealthiest Americans and corporations. And when you do, you realize that this tax plan is massively slanted towards them and not towards the middle class. It's not even close. Again, if a family is making $100,000 and they save about $1,000, well, you can compare that to Trump, who makes millions of dollars still as president on top of his presidential salary. And you look at his savings, well, he's going to save $135 million a year under this plan. Now, somebody's winning under this plan. There's winning going on. It's just not you that's doing it. Okay. Now, again, I want to go back to Cohn's ridiculous numbers. If he thinks that $1,000 is going to help you either A, buy a car, which, no, that's not necessarily true, or help you remodel your kitchen, well, let me tell you what the average cost to remodel a kitchen is in America. it cost about $21,800 just to remodel a kitchen. Did you know that 40% of the workforce, that's 40% of Americans that are working, they don't even make $21,800 a year. They don't make that. That's just to remodel a kitchen. And yet, again, Trump's savings per year alone could remodel hundreds of Americans' kitchens, maybe even thousands of Americans' kitchens. That's a lot of money. This is outrageous, and it actually shows you just how out of touch people like Gary Cohn actually are. Because, again, this guy is a multimillionaire. He doesn't understand the plight of regular people. See, this is the swamp. See, and not only is this the swamp, but Cohn is one of the swamp monsters. Goldman Sachs guy, through and through, okay? And ironically, this is the kind of person that Donald Trump railed against, the global financial elite. And yet these are the same people that are going to end up winning alongside with Trump with his tax plan. Now you know. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.